Can you tell me a moment in your life where, or in your career where you made a leap in both your activism and or your comedy, where you really felt you made a breakthrough? And then the second part of that is there a moment where you overcame a fear with something that you were going to present, or you weren't sure, but you felt that this is too important?
Well, I don't know if you're if you're referring to one particularly, but of course the obvious answer is the moment on Fox News that now pretty much everybody's seen, when I was on several years ago and called them a parade of propaganda and a festival of ignorance on their national morning show. And I had no idea that it would end up going viral. I mean, it was 7 a.m. on a Saturday. I didn't know hardly anyone would see it. It ended up, and also this was kind of right at the beginning of the time where everything that was on news, if it was important, would end up getting online. Like, not everything was online that was on TV. So just seeing that someone had put it online was kind of a shock to me. But so then it blew up because there was a cultural nerve that it hit. Like, everyone wanted to tell Fox News that they're a parade of propaganda on their own show, and finally I was lucky enough to get to do it. But yeah, I mean, that was a big leap, and I didn't really know it at the time. I didn't know. I knew it was a big thing to do, but I didn't know the leap I was taking, really. Sometimes you close your eyes and jump, and you don't know how far down it is. That's how it felt. But it was very much that I felt it was too important not to say it. It was really what it came down to. I mean, I knew I was amazed they had invited me on Fox News to begin with, and I figured I'd get one shot at this, and we'll see what happens. And I was, in order to keep my nerve, because I think people from the outside that don't do much TV can't really picture one of those studios, but you're not surrounded by Darth Vaders. This is just producers and things that just want to make a show. Like, the Darth Vaders are off in some boardroom somewhere. So it seems like a fun atmosphere. It seems like, everybody just wants everyone to play along. You just play the game and everybody goes home happy, and we all, well, I don't, but they get their big paychecks, and that's all they care about. So it's weird, because there's a feeling to it of you're punching someone in the face who doesn't know why you're punching them in the face. But of course, if you look at the bigger picture, they should know why. So in order to keep my nerve that morning, when I'm sitting in the green room before the show, I was reading an article, this is again years ago, an article on just how many civilians had truly died in Iraq. The numbers were just outrageous, like, close to 1 million civilians. This is the Lancet Medical Journal. And so I was rereading that article to remind myself why this needed to be done. There is definitely an elite bubble of media, and I guess politicians. They're in this bubble, and as long as everybody's saying the right thing, everything just keeps going along the way it is, which, if you look at the grander picture, is the pillaging of the world. And they are in a bubble, and I don't exactly know. I mean, even though I've met plenty of media personalities, and some of them are incredibly vapid, some of them are incredibly smart, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what needs to be said in order to fit in the little box that is allowed on television, this little tiny paradigm of thought. And if you branch out of it for a second, it's okay, but you got to come back quick. You gotta, maybe you could say something that tests the waters, and then you gotta get back in, whatever. But basically, all the thought happens in this tiny little paradigm, and outside thoughts cannot be allowed, or at least not for long. And some of them are just so stupid they believe it, and then some of them are so brilliant, just really, really smart people that know exactly what they're doing, know exactly what needs to be said, and know exactly how to say it. And it's tough to know which is which. I mean, I think it's an interesting mix of the two. Complete morons that have bought into the entire pony show, or brilliant, in a way, evil geniuses. Although I know they don't view themselves as evil, but or most don't. And the only hope we have of turning this thing around into some sort of sustainable world, some sort of world that we can continue to live in without causing the extinction of whatever percentage of species and ourselves, is to continue to keep that information free and open. And they're trying everything to crack down on it. I mean, you know, the massive online activism to stop SOPA and PIPA needs to be done again with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because the same shit's in that as was in SOPA and PIPA. It's just basically they you know, they're just trying different. They're trying different. What is it where you just keep trying different spots to find a weakness? So basically, they run against this part of the wall, and then they try that part, and then, oh well, let's try over here. And they're gonna keep trying and find ways to shut down the internet, to, you know, shut down meaning keep it inside of a confined space. Again, a confined space of thought, a confined space of what can be watched and monitored, and the Trans-Pacific Partnership just completely gives it away to corporations to allow them to control that. And I think, you know, it is one of the greatest fights. I think that and, you know, getting money out of politics are probably two of the biggest fights at the root of everything.
So if someone's watching this doesn't know what the Trans-Pacific Partnership is, what would you tell them?
God damn it, inform yourselves. Yeah, no, it's not surprising, because a lot of people don't know, because it's not talked about, and it's not mentioned on the mainstream media for the most part. It is the largest trade deal, I believe, in human history. And it is, you know, called by many people NAFTA on steroids. It, as Noam Chomsky says, trade deals are meant to consolidate corporate power and to minimize the risks of democracy, risks for corporations of democracy. So trade deals are designed to help corporations keep their control and consolidate their control. And this is a massive one. This is between, I think, 13 countries, including us, and there's another one for the Atlantic side of things that's called the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, TTIP. So these two things are going on essentially at the same time. They're being decided by corporate lobbyists and the tops of governments, and you know, you can look all this up. It's just not, it is, you can find articles on it, it's just not, well, you know, out there a lot. In order to view the document, which is not even accessible to Congress for the most part, but Congress can see the document if they go, they make an appointment, they're allowed to see it, I think, for an hour. This is a massive, several hundred page, if not 1,000-page document. They're not allowed to bring anyone who's an expert on trade deal. They're not allowed to bring anyone, period. They're not allowed to bring staff members. They're not allowed to bring cameras, phones, microphones, writing utensils, anything. And they have 1 hour to look through this hundreds of page document because they don't want people to know what's in it. The corporate lobbyists deciding this thing don't want people to know what's in it. Alan Grayson went to see it and said it basically cedes our sovereignty to corporations. That's what it does. And that is being forced through right now with no one paying attention.
A couple people.
12. I just calculated it was 12 people.